Hello everyone, welcome to Georgia Paper Crafts. Today I'm going to be working with the Simon Says Stamp December card kit. This is known for the holidays. Now I am late getting this up for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't get it till very late in the month, which is very disappointing considering this is a Christmas kit. None of the cards that I'll be making will be able to be used for Christmas this year. I guess I could use them for next year. But having said that, I was supposed to get in here the 12 single-sided sheets of Photoplay Kringle and Company 6x6 paper. Well, this is not that. I'm not sure what this is. This is, I guess, something in the same color theme with the red and the grays and the blacks, but this is something about being outdoors, be brave, be courageous, you know, something with bears and I don't know. I'm really, really disappointed that this is what I got. I mean, I have been getting these card kits for a very long time. And this is, I think, the second time I have seen something, you know, put in besides what's supposed to be in there. The first time it was a different color of cardstock, which wasn't that big of a deal. But this, I feel, is almost just very cheap and very, very disappointing. So, needless to say, I'm not going to be making 10 cards. My inspiration, my thought, my feeling about this card kit has gotten very soured. So I'll just be making a few cards. I'll be showing what I make. I'll probably be making things that I can use maybe throughout the year instead of just Christmas. So having said that, I'm sorry I went into that diatribe, but yeah, just having, I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but this was extremely disappointing. So, all right, so I'm going to get to making some cards and I'll see you on the other side. So what I did wind up making was 5 cards. Now, with those 5 cards, I have 3 unique designs. There are 2 designs that I made 2 different cards using different colors. So these first 2 are using these snowflake dies that were in the stamp set. Here I am taking some of this Schoolhouse Red cardstock that came in the kit, and I am just stamping it on the cardstock using my Simon Says Stamp Clear Embossing ink. And here you see I forgot to use my anti-static powder tool prior to doing it, so it's kind of sticking all over the place. And I'm having to use my small brush to try and get rid of that excess powder everywhere. But I am using some white, I believe this is Hero Art's white embossing powder. And I'm going to melt this. And then I'm going to move on to the other one I'm going to make, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of the white cardstock, and I am going to, again, put just a random stamping of the snowflakes on it. And that time you can see I used the anti-static powder tool. I got smart. And this time I'm going to use the Ranger metallic, this is platinum embossing powder. It's a really pretty silver. And I'm just filling in, because obviously it was kind of hard to see once you stamp on there with that clear embossing powder. Kind of filling it in. I'm not going to fill it in completely, because what I'm going to do is I am going to go over this with some ink. And I am going to do some Emboss Resist coloring on this. And then I'm going to put some more snowflakes on there. So here you can see I am using, I'm starting out with the Schoolhouse Red, Simon Says Stamp Color. I'm going around the edges with that. Then I'm going to come in with the Lipstick Red and just try to go around the edges, making it dark around the edges and keeping it light in the center. And I'm buffing off the excess ink from the embossed area, excuse me. So here I'm using Beanstalk Green, starting out with that. And I'm not really sure I like that green, but I went ahead and went with it. This one is now Green Leaf, and I'm just darkening up the edges. I'm going to go ahead and buff off the embossed snowflakes. And then I'm testing the cardstock to see if it's dry enough. I had put a heat tool to it to try to dry it, but obviously right there I noticed that it wasn't, because what I did was I put a little bit of embossing powder on it. If it's stuck, that means it's still wet. So I went back with my heat tool and dried it some more. And here you see, once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to go back in with the clear embossing ink and just put some more scattering of these little bitty snowflakes all around on both pieces. Once I'm happy with how many snowflakes I have on there, I am going to bring in some embossing powder that I bought. I believe at Michael's. This was Ranger's Snowflake Tinsel Embossing Powder. So essentially it's kind of a white with a little bit of a glitter in it, and I wasn't sure what to expect with this. So here you can see me putting it on there, and initially it looks really pretty. It looks, nice and shiny. But what I noticed is it didn't really stay that well. And you'll see what I mean kind of when I finish here. So I'm doing that one. I'm going to bring it in on this one. I feel like it stuck a little bit better on that one. Go ahead and empty all the excess back into the jar, and I'll heat all that up. And I think when it heats up, it loses some of that sparkle. You don't see it as much. So I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of this embossing powder, but I definitely wanted to give it a try. Once I'm finished with that, you see again, I have my Swiffer cloth, and I'm just going over it, trying to get all the excess ink off the embossed areas. Now I want to do a little splatter. I bought in one of my boxes. This is probably my Simon Says stamp box. And I'm bringing in some of the metallic Starry Night watercolors. And you see I just added some water to it, and I'm picking it up with my paintbrush and then just splattering it on there. I'm doing it in some white color, and then also some in the gold. Now I've taken the MFT Inside Out Diagonal Stack die, and I cut both of these down so that I still have a little bit of a white border when I put it on. I used some double-sided adhesive to put them on, as they were somewhat warped from all the embossing and inking. Now here I took some snowflake dies from my stash. These are both Simon Says Stamp snowflake dies, and I honestly cannot remember the names. I apologize. I will look it up and make sure I put it below. But these I cut out using some really thin glitter cardstock, and then I'm adhering them onto the front of each. You can tell it's very thin there. Put that on there. Using a little of my glue adhesive to do that. This one was a little bit more sturdy. Again, the dies that I used to cut these are from previous years. So now I'm taking some of the pre-made sentiments that Simon Says Stamp put out for Christmas that are in a black toner ink, so you can foil them. And I had foiled both of these. So this first one here that I'm putting over the red, that is foiled in a red. It's hard to tell, but it has a red foiling on it. And then this one I foiled with a green foil. So this one says Happy New Year. And then the other one says, I believe it says wishing, oh shoot, I gotta wait to see what it says. I think it says wishing you happy season. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. I'll have to look at it. Wishing you a wonderful holiday season. I knew it was something like that. So these, again, I won't be able to use until next year, but I do like how they turned out. I am using just some, this is almost like an off-white gem. I believe I got these from Pretty Pink Posh. And I'm just attaching them around the cards for added embellishment. And those two cards are finished. I do like how they turned out. The green one's not my favorite, but I do like the red one. All right, now moving on to my next card. Here I'm showing you that I took the GNOME die and I cut it out. I've cut out the backing, of course, from just some plain white cardstock. I also cut out the beard and the nose from some white cardstock. And here you see I am coloring both the nose and the beard in. For the nose, I used E11 and I think it was E11 and a little bit of E21, but it was mainly E11. And then for the beard, I used the cool grays. I did C3, C2, C1, and C0. So I'm showing you here that I did that. I'm going to put them together. I also cut, I guess, the hat and the shirt out of some of the cardstock, not the cardstock, but some of the pattern paper that came in the kit. And I'm putting it together. You can see off to the side, I went ahead and cut a bunch of other ones. While I have things out, I like to do it all at once. So I'm going to just put this one together on screen so you can see how I put it together. And then I'll do the rest off screen. So here I'm putting the hat on. And I have to tell you that this thing is absolutely adorable. I love it. You can see the three that I decided to use for this card and the other two that I put up to the left-hand side. So what I did was I cut down some black cardstock along with some of the Schoolhouse red cardstock to back that with. I'm taking the Sentiment Gnomies and I'm going to heat emboss that onto the black. I used my anti-static powder tool, and I used my Versamark ink, which you could tell is very dirty, and I stamped it, and I'm going to use some white embossing powder. I believe this is Hero Arts white embossing powder. I'm going to heat set that. And then I thought maybe I wanted to try to add some of the trees that came in the stamp set. And so you see me kind of placing them around, trying to figure what I want to do. Then I realized I didn't want to do any of that. So I went ahead and took an additional just blank piece of black cardstock, and I am heat embossing the sentiment just chilling with. And then so I'm going to cut this out, and it's going to say just chilling with, or chilling with my, not just chilling with, but chilling with my gnomies. So that's what that's going to say. I am bringing in some of this Starry Night metallic watercolor. I'm using some of the gold here, and I'm just filling in the word gnomies. I'm then going to bring in my splatter box, and once again I'm going to do a bunch of splatter. I'm going to do some gold, some copper, some white, just a bunch. It's going to look kind of like a busy starry sky once I'm finished. Once I'm finished with that, I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to put some double-sided adhesive on the back and attach it to that Schoolhouse red cardstock, and then attach it to my A2 size white card base that I had previously made. As you can see, I cut it kind of long. Unfortunately, I had it all kind of off, so I'm trying to trim it up here. And then I realized that I didn't like that side. Let me bring it in, try to trim this side up, and then it got all wacky. You see, I'm frustrated with myself, so I had to put it back in there and try and trim again. Finally, I got it to where I like it. But it did, I think I made it a little bit smaller than an A2 size card. So I'm pulling in those gnomes, and I am putting 2 just directly down on the paper there. And then I'm going to pop that third one up into the middle. I think, like I say, these things are absolutely adorable. I will have to say I'm going to definitely use these. I can see myself using these for other things. You can change up with their outfits there. So I'm bringing that little sentiment that says chilling with my, and I'm just going to put that across that first guy's chest. Attach that right there. Put a little foam adhesive on each side since he's popped up. A little glue in the middle. And that's it for that card. I really like how this one turned out. I thought it was so cute. Loved it. So I still have 2 gnomes left. So I decided I would try to make somewhat of a Valentine's card. So this is a masculine style Valentine's card. I use my MFT pierced heart stack dies, and I cut some out of the Schoolhouse red and the black cardstock, and then also a larger heart out of some pattern paper. Here I am going to heat emboss the sentiment, I love you no matter what, on both of these. And I used the Versamark ink and then some, actually, Brutus Moreau Alabaster white embossing powder. I think this gives a better look than the Hero Arts. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take some more pattern paper that I cut down and kind of layer it. So this almost like wood plank pattern paper, I cut that down to 3 inches and a little bit shorter than 3 inches, and I'm using both pieces. I'm backing it, one with a red, one with a black. I'm going to adhere it to the cardstock, and I'm going to do one in the portrait way, and then the other way I'm going to do it in a landscape type setting, I guess I should say. Just to kind of change it up, even though these are both going to be very similar. So this one with the red, I'm going to attach the plaid heart, and then the red single heart, and then I will pop up the gnome, and I'll do that in a few minutes. I'm trying to do everything at once. Take the black one here and do the same. Go ahead and do some foam adhesive on the back there and pop them up. I wanted to do a little bit more embellishment, so I'm taking some of these enamel hearts. This is from some enamel heart sticker set that I got from Doodlebug. Just adding a few here and there. Red ones, a pink one, I think a white one. Just to give it a little bit more embellishment without changing the masculine look. And here's a look at those final cards. So here are the final 5 cards that I did make using the December 2019 card kit from Simon Says Stamp. I think I made fairly decent cards, even though I was pretty upset about getting a different paper pad, but it still worked out. I'm happy with how it came out, and I know I'll be able to use these cards. Thank you so much for sticking with me and watching this video, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you like this video, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again next time.